August shop owner Rob Bowhan is a partner of UW-Madison's School of Human Ecology that gives students of all backgrounds the opportunity to showcase their designs in his store.
August has always paid homage to streetwear history by hosting events to amplify local Black designers.
Thanks for having me. Obviously, this has been a very stressful moment for everyone in the country. I think getting together and talking more about what has happened and what's to come is healthy. And, I'm happy to be here and to hopefully lend some insight. Certainly, my shop and all the product in my shop comes second to human life. Everyone on my team, I've got a relatively diverse staff and everyone comes from different backgrounds. We're all on the same page when it comes to a lot of things. This is one of them. I think what kind of hit harder for us was just simply that one of our staff members got assaulted trying to keep rioters out of the store. So that kind of added another layer to the emotional aspect of it. But ultimately, my staff and I are all on the same page when it comes to equality and equal rights and Black Lives Matter. Like a lot of people, just processing what's going on right now and how to handle it personally and how to be a better person moving forward and doing a lot of self-reflection, having that much personal insight happening all at once while trying to be supportive of everyone around you. I think everyone's probably had an emotional overload this week for sure. Since probably the first month that we've opened, have always been a hub for Black art, whether it's visual art or performing arts. My staff has been always a diverse mix of people from different backgrounds and races, ethnicities, religions, sexual orientations. So I think that one of the things that we've always done at August was to celebrate Black culture, but I think we'll continue to do it now with more intent. Before, we just were a place where people just come to know that this is where you go for this type of stuff. But I think that now we just plan on, again, having a little bit more of like the reason for why we do this stuff so that people understand the connection. August is, maybe a unique retailer on State Street, at least, where like my business, sneakers and streetwear, is strongly influenced, if not mainly influenced by Black culture. We have a duty to pay homage to that history. So I think, again, we'll continue to do our events. We'll do them with more intent. We're going to lean in harder. And I think we're going to probably get more involved whenever there's like an election, whether it be national or local. My team and I are just going to come up with a way where we can be a hub for that kind of information so that we can forward that information flow so that the activism can still kind of continue even after this larger moment. One of our intentions now is to make sure that this doesn't fizzle out completely. And we hope to be a voice for that. We've always had a certain representation of Black designers in our shop, whether it's BBC or Ice Cream or Carrots or Midwest Kids. We'll definitely be paying more attention. There could be some brands out there that wasn't on my radar. So we will be having a little bit more of an attention to like, who are the proprietors of this brand? Who works for them? Who's there on their design team? What is their graphic story? Is there a message? And we've always kind of like leaned into that aesthetic. It just kind of works with the August brand identity. But to answer your question, yes, of course, my staff and I, we're always looking for new brands and we're always looking for cool brands that have a meaning. And I think for the most part, a lot of the brands that we carry do. Because ultimately, that's what streetwear has really always been about. It's always been about expression. It's always been about this counterculture. And I think that we're going to represent brands that do champion a Black voice or do have more of a meaning or a purpose that lends more to the streetwear culture and history and heritage as a whole. When you look back at streetwear culture, you could name maybe 3 brands. You have Stussy, you have a brand called Fucked, and you have Fresh Drive will probably be the 3 brands that are kind of known today as some of like the pillars of streetwear culture. But all of those brands took inspiration from like counterculture, whether it was skate, punk, ska, reggae, anti-establishment, or anarchy. All of these like subcultures of the youth, really, they kind of became the voice for that. There was a huge void in the market back then, and there was nowhere for kids who kind of felt that way, like the outcasts, to have like a clothing line or a brand identity that really spoke to them. So as like it evolved, streetwear started taking a lot more from Black culture, hip hop culture. It all kind of melded into one. And we're now at this interesting intersection too, where streetwear has become like a commodity. It's like pop culture now, in a way, the same way that hip hop crossed over into being basically pop culture at this point, right? And this might be a conversation for another day to start to talk about how do we get back to the essence of what streetwear really is? Or is this just going to go on to another avenue and we just have to figure out how to how to steer it into the right direction. And we crossed over, and this is the way it's going to be. Yes, people can email me. I talk to everybody. As long as you caught me when I got 5-10 minutes, I'm open to talking to anybody. So our email is on the website. It's on our Instagram. It's on our Facebook. It's just info@august-shop.com. That's really why I started the partnership with UW. Since August started, I sit on a class like twice a year for the graphic t-shirt, Screen Printing 101. And their whole project is to design a graphic shirt that would live in my store and to pitch me on it, basically almost create like a brand. I know that there's a lot of like young up and coming designers here that want to learn more about how this works and how to get their product into shops and stuff. So we had just started creating a program where we would feature local designers at the shop. And I'd probably say half of the people that we were already lining up to reach out to were Black designers. That's one thing that kind of always prided August in, is that I really want to position August, and have been positioning, as a resource too, just for people to learn like more about how to do this. How does this work? I want to be a designer. I want to get into sales. Or I want to get involved in brand management. Like, what does that look like? And so I think that that's one thing that we will be doing. I'll be reopening the store this week. I don't know when all the boards are going to come off the windows yet. I think everyone's like kind of holding their breath. We'll probably start to pick up on our events again, on doing this program where we're going to kind of like feature more young up and coming designers in our city. I don't really have a date set yet, just because I think everyone's in the same position. We just don't know when is going to be the time for us to be able to do this. The cultural uprising alone, we're still in the middle of COVID. I think that like the intersection of COVID and what happened with the 3 deaths that we had caused by the police, I think that intersection kind of like made things even more intense and kind of impacted retailers differently. But I think it also fed into where people were mentally at that time too. Similar with a lot of retailers in my industry right now, everyone's kind of put a pause on advertising product, at least on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. It just seems a little tone deaf and weird to be like trying to sell shoes to somebody right now. I don't know. So we're kind of in a pause on that. The website will probably be more of like the vehicle that we'll use now to keep people updated with new things, still being careful and cautious about like how many people are in the shop, just so we can keep my staff and all my customers safe too. So it's kind of like TBD right now in terms of when we're going to pick all that stuff back up.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Sure.
It was really amazing to listen to everything you had to say.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out.